Hello, those of you over there that are causing trouble in the corner, all the food plates in the corner. It's like smoking and stuff. You could grab a seat, grab a drink. We're going to kick off. Everyone's I've seen been afraid to cook the cake. That's true. Where's our local staff member that tell us if this fire was allowed or not? Well, how do you get Michael to cut it in half? So you have to stay to the 7:15 break and it's okay. That'd be the deal. Before that, though, make sure you grab 1 or 2 beers. By the way, all those boxes down there are full. Do not be afraid of the beer. There's plenty. Those are full. The pizza box is wow. Okay. It tells a lot about the organizers when they're like, oh, no, all right, I'm going to go. All right. Yeah, so yes. Okay, thank you. So there's our data. We're running 15 minutes late. It's fine. Let's use happen. So we are being recorded. Cameras, cameras, so if you don't want to be very voice recorded or you're going to record it, then look in the side. Here we are. Steve, Jessica, and myself. They are our meeting. Very collaborative. Well, if you reach out to us individually, that's what you can do so. You want to stay in touch with the actual DevSecOps London Gathering, this is how you do so. Best way to do it is to email DSO. Very simple. Remember, so please get in touch with that. And also on YouTube. We're going to be putting videos on YouTube again. So hopefully you've got some brilliant content already. And don't forget our podcast. Yes, podcast. So we have a podcast running. We've just published 2, literally in the last 3 or 4 weeks. So do look at those podcasts. DSO Overflow. You'll find it on all good streaming, all good podcast channels, such as Spotify, Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts as well. But you should find anything you're using. Because the shout out, Jessica, you do the shout outs.
So there are many different ways so one from Sam here is from DevSecOps London. This is kind of DevSecOps evening. Here are the other groups that you work with, I think are brilliant. We've got lots going on. A massive fan to Latinos. We rule. And I think
partners.
Oh, and then also in terms of the next partners, so obviously we're working in Big London, that's happening as we speak right now.
Yeah, you want to do it?
But we'll also get the Rock Days London in about the next time. So it's up there, and I'll give you a key and quick round, Noble, awesome. And then GTX Expo, that's going to be our next big meetup. That's going to be kind of internet incentives.
We also had this new feature we've been running for a couple of months where we give some people opportunity to advertise jobs for people like you. So if you're looking for something, we have an opportunity here from Reshape. If you've got a camera and you want to take a QR code, you can find out more about that role and online. So if you've got any opportunities yourself that you want to advertise, please subscribe to the team for DSO. We're going to stick on the slides at all the meetups and reach out to the audience as well. So there you go.
See you. Me? Yeah, you me.
All right, big thanks to Big Deal 11 for letting us host this the second year in a row. It's pretty good. I hope you like it. They actually give from the beers and pizzas and stuff. stuff too. Keep around for Ken at the back, he's our representative. You didn't know we were going to be here, so if he's staying late tonight, we're paying him here, essentially. I'm in the set of responses. I don't know if anybody statistics actually here, anybody statistics here, but one is 35 statistics. They have open source project to Falco. You probably heard of it. There's a lot of very free things in terms of media, scanning, and awareness. Typically not for monitoring, definitely good for security. Go check it out. Next, new sponsor, Contact Security. They would actually sponsor this yet. They just promised to sponsor us, and so we give them a shout out. That's how easy it is, really. Promise, right? There you go. Ignite your innovation velocity. I'm not going to read the whole thing. They haven't actually sponsored us yet. Moving swiftly on. Crystal Cloud, they're our other actual girl sponsor. They actually pinged me and announced that they now have an SCA feature, S1 generation, context-sensitive cloud and application platform. We haven't heard of it, just Google Crystal Cloud and SCA. There's 1,000 PR things out there at the moment that you can each supply. It's quite good. There's a blog article right there. But anyway, check it out. It's pretty cool. Then become a speaker. We're doing. Oh, pretty good on that post. We're kind of squatting here, I guess. Nice to stay long. If you want to become a speaker, email us at team@DSO.com. YouTube can be up here. How exciting is that? If you're new to speaking, you only have 15 minutes, please do so. If you've got something exciting with research, security, DevSecOps, developer integration, we want to 2+8. Let us know. We're happy to have you. We're actually focused on Twitter right now, so thank you for those who responded. And I apologize for being late. Our main event. And just one more slide. Just introduce. There he is.
There he is.
There he is there. We'd like to say better version, he's just here. In real life. Earlier, this is how most people know him. No one really knows what he does outside of that. I think he mostly just lives in this kind of weird sea of OWASP, doing all those things for free for us. And he's going to tell us all about it today. Let's just get to the next slide so I never have to come back to this. We're going to have a short break at 9:15 where you can re-up on your beers. And if we hadn't have cake, we're going to get Michael Mann, where he is, to cut the cake because he's the founder of this wonderful meetup. Let's give him a little round of applause. Yes. None of us can be here. We're having beers. And finally, after that, we're going to be talking OWASP and open source. How does that really apply? Sam's going to tell us all these wonderful things, but then we're going to get people up here to call him the reality of open source across DevSecOps as it applies to global enterprise and small medium enterprise. You all can participate in verbal questions and cakes and cupcakes at them if you wish. Without any further chit chat.
Let me switch degrees over to Sam because I need to do the. We're live streaming this, so although the audio is probably rubbish because it's coming through my laptop. Because turns out we all use the same frequency. How about that, eh? All right, is that up? Well, does that one work?
Ben, fire him up.
Yes. Hello, everyone, and welcome to So Money for Nothing, DevSecOps for Free. My name is Stepanyan, and I'm the chapter leader. So, a few more bullet points about who I am. So, I'm an application security consultant and architect. I work in financial services in the city of London. I have a software development background. I'm an ex-developer. Moved to security many years ago and loving it since the day I moved. And that was in 2006. I've been attending OWASP London Chapter events and helping as a volunteer since 2008. And in 2015, I became OWASP London Chapter leader and a few other leaders now to run the chapter. I'm on Twitter. If you are on Twitter, please follow me. My handle on Twitter is Stepanyan. If you're not on Twitter, I urge you to actually join Twitter. This is probably the only social network which is quite good for us in the industry, for development, for techie guys. There are some weird guys like Donald Trump. I think Twitter occasionally, but I think it's been banned. So you'll actually get a lot of news, information, and threat intel from good guys, bad guys, all vendors on Twitter. So if you're not on Twitter, it's actually a good thing to join. Now, I am from OWASP. If you don't know what OWASP is, you really should know. But if you don't, OWASP stands for Open Web Application Security Project, and it is a non-profit foundation. And the whole idea of OWASP is that we're to improve the security of software. And how do we do it? Through open source projects. I'm going to talk about lots of open source projects today. We have hundreds of chapters worldwide. We have tens of thousands of community members, so we are a community. And we also host local and global conferences on the topics of application security, DevSecOps, IoT, lots of chapters all around the world. So if you know someone who lives outside of London and somewhere else in the world, there will be an OWASP chapter near. And actually, because tonight we have a 5th anniversary of DevSecOps London, so happy birthday. I still remember Michael's very first meetup, so I think I've attended almost all of them, or a couple of meetups which were actually here. So it's great. Actually, OWASP London chapter has been around since 2004, so we're actually 18, so we're now maturing into an adult world, so the security is no longer a matter for toddlers. But 5th anniversary is still great. I think it's absolutely amazing that Michael Stepanyan managed to build this community from scratch without any support from any other non-profit like we do. But OWASP London has been around since 2004. We do run regular meetups as well. So please do join. We are on Meetup, so you just find us at OWASP London and come attend our talks as well. So we are mostly known for OWASP Top 10. A lot of people think that OWASP Top 10 is a security standard. It is not. It is an awareness document of the most critical vulnerabilities people should be aware of, and it is not a standard. You can think of it more as a white paper. If you want to follow a standard, OWASP does have a standard called ASBS, and I'm going to talk about it later. On this slide, I have OWASP Top 10 from 2017. There's a brand new version from last year as well. There are quite a few changes there, so definitely check it out. But actually, it's quite interesting to track how risks changed in the past 20 years. Actually, they haven't changed that much because 80% of OWASP Top 10 is still the same as it was back in the year 2001, which is quite interesting. So one of the things that we also have about OWASP, of course, is OWASP projects, which are all free and open source. We have over 250 projects. It's absolutely unbelievable. The new projects are appearing, and actually we want more projects, and I'll talk about this a little bit later. And of course, they are free. And here is the song reference from Money for Nothing. So if you were a teenager in 1985, 1987, I was. If you stick around until the end of the talk, you'll get to see a photo of me as a teenager. And the Money for Nothing song was a Dire Straits Grammy nominated. We saw it Live Aid, Wembley, 1985. That song became very, very popular because it was broadcast to millions of people worldwide and to everyone at Wembley. Interesting fact is not many people know, but Dire Straits invited Sting, so it's actually Sting singing "I Want My MTV" at the song. It's most famous for its absolutely killer guitar riff. So we had it playing with it earlier. So it's also very famous for its revolutionary 3D graphics. So back in 1985, this kind of graphics, this was absolutely groundbreaking. And actually, this video clip being actually referred to as the birth of the CGI. So this is the birth of computer graphics. Now, the lyrics of this video are from the point of view of two delivery men. So these delivery guys, they're just watching MTV on the television, and they're commenting on what they see. And basically, what they say is like, hang on a minute, what are these people doing playing guitar on the MTV? That's not working, because we're working, we're moving. Microwave ovens, refrigerators, color TVs, and these guys are just playing guitar. So there will be a few references to the song, if you know it. Now, let's talk about money and DevSecOps market. So it is estimated to be worth $23 billion globally. And it keeps growing. So apparently the growth rate is 31.5% annually, and basically going to keep growing. And what is very interesting, there are lots of vendors. This happened. There are so many robots. You can see them all. And you can see some interesting logos here. This is how different companies manage to raise a lot of capital because they use DevSecOps. They from Postman, Circle, CI, data don't pick it up. And you can see the investment graph here, year by year from 2012 to 2020. That's when the data stops. Do you see this little spike here in 2018? Do you know what this was? This was Microsoft acquiring GitHub. So this is where the massive spikes. There was $76 billion spent in DevSecOps that year. So it's absolutely enormous, the investment in DevSecOps, and it's growing crazily, 35% each year. Now, going back to what is DevSecOps, I think a lot of people debate this. I think we talk about this at every single DevSecOps London Gathering meetup. Well, we can think about it as integration of security principles and culture into DevOps processes and as a shared responsibility. So security is a shared responsibility. You can also think of it as an approach which embeds security practices and tools into each phase of the DevOps pipeline. But of course, you can also think about DevSecOps as people, process, technology, the whole PPT triangle. Now, this is a very interesting thing about where do you put security, right? And this is what DevSecOps is all about. So instead of doing DevOps and then sprinkling security on top, you should be baking it in. We're going to cake that. Thanks very much for the cake. So it is all about baking security in. Now, DevSecOps has 3 layers according to Glenn. Glenn wrote this amazing book called DevSecOps Leader's Guide. I highly recommend you checking it out. This book is probably one of the best books on DevSecOps you can read, and it's written by this guy. It's just here. So Glenn raises that the 3 layers of DevSecOps, which is education, right? Everyone needs to know about security. Secure by design, you have to design your application with security baked in from the very beginning. And of course, what is very important, automation. We have to automate security. We cannot make it slow or blocking, because of course, that will be against the DevOps. You can also, DevSecOps is not just taking tools and throwing it at CI/CD pipelines, but you need to have your security automation tools in the CI/CD pipelines. It's also you can think of it as tools, standards, and guidelines that can help you to be secure by design. This is what you can get, and education and training tools and resources. And you can actually get this all with a budget of $0. This is what I'm going to talk about today. So if you look about different practices, what you need to do for DevSecOps, you need to do requirements gathering, threat modeling, code review, vulnerability testing, software composition analysis or SCA, vulnerability tracking. Once you find out that you have vulnerabilities, you have to track them, right? You need to have your defensive controls, then of course training and awareness, which is a very important part of DevSecOps, and level information. So these are the various components in the people, process, and technology overarching DevSecOps. If you think about tool chain, what kind of tools do we need for DevSecOps? So you need IDE plugins to shift security left, correct? So give the security tools straight to developers. Pre-commit hooks to make sure that developers do not commit bad stuff into the repository. For example, secrets. You should have secret scan. You should have SAS tools, so static application security testing tools, which scan the source code of the applications. And you should also have DAST tools. DAST tools or dynamic application security testing These are the tools which perform vulnerability scanning of the running application. That's why they call dynamic. You should have SCA tools, so software composition analysis. You need to know what's inside your application, if it has any vulnerable components, libraries, and if any of the libraries we use actually have some libraries inside of them. Manage all the dependencies. Compliance is code, that's another very important thing, which is you need to make sure that you've got that. Infrastructure is code, security tools. IaaS is interactive application security testing, so it's a bit of a new thing. Not everyone is using it, but it's also great if you've got it. Vulnerability management is very important. Once you know what the vulnerabilities are, you need to manage the vulnerabilities. You need to monitor, and you need to have your telemetry. As you move into deployment, you should have your web application firewall WAF. RASP stands for Real-Time Application Security Protection, which is a methodology, which is also quite an important type of tool. And chaos engineering. I think we did have a talk on chaos engineering previously, which is very important. And this is quite a new approach. How can you do your testing in a completely different framework? So if you look at the DevSecOps looks, just a reminder, so things that you need to do. You need to plan, code, build, test, release, deploy, operate your applications, monitor, and repeat. So that is what is happening there. Now let's look at the plan a bit. First of all, what you need to do is look at the requirements definition. So OWASP, we have this wonderful free and open source tool called OWASP Security Wrap, or Requirements Automation Tool. So this tool allows you to get your security requirements, and this is usually one of the most difficult building applications. But what you can do with Security Wrap, you can specify parameters of the software artifact that you are building, and based on this information, the list of common security requirements will be generated for you, and then you can actually raise them all as security bits, which is fantastic. Another OWASP project, which is again free and open source, it's very important at the beginning of the planning of the application. Something called OWASP User Security Stories. You can see it there on the GitHub. And basically, these are all the stories that you need to inject into your sprints. The developers can understand security from the user point of view. Right? As a user, what needs to be done. Okay, so that is, I think a lot of people have said that, but you can find it at OWASP, where we have a free and open source project, which is called User Security Stories. But there is also another side of the stories in your HL planning, and that is attacker stories or user stories. So we have this wonderful OWASP use case cheat sheet. And this is where it gets a bit fun, because it actually makes developers think about what can happen, right? So, for example, as an attacker, I can have access to hundreds of millions of stolen credentials in the form of valid username and passwords, right? And can perform credential scanning. If you start injecting this kind of stories into your sprints, you will instantly see the value of it, because usually when you build your application, you don't have the stories. And where do you get them from? From OWASP. Absolutely free. Next thing that you need to do, you need to do some threat modeling. And again, we have this wonderful cute Dragon, OWASP Threat Dragon tool, which is a free and open source cross-platform threat modeling tool, which allows you to diagram your threats. It also has a rule engine, and then it can auto-generate the threats and mitigations. It comes in two different versions. You can get OWASP Threat Dragon as a desktop application available for Windows, Linux, Mac, or you can just use it on the web. The web version has some limitations, but it's still perfectly usable. The next project I will talk about with threat modeling is OWASP Threat Modeling Playbook. What do you need to do to get your threat modeling practice injected into your practices? It's a very useful project. Again, if you don't know where to start with threat modeling, definitely check out the playbook. Next thing you need to do is, of course, to do code review. How do you perform code review for security? We have a guide. We have a free guide called OWASP Code Review Guide, which tells you all about methodology, how to look for security vulnerabilities when performing code review. And it's available as a book as well. The next thing that I mentioned is OWASP Application Security Verification Standard. This is the actual standard that you need to follow when building applications. This is, again, absolutely community-driven standard, so it's not coming from any vendor, from any big organization. This is all the community getting together and saying, okay, how do we verify that applications are secure? It consists of various checklists, and again, there are various ways how you could automate this and inject it into the lifecycle. Another standard I will talk about, not many people know about, is OWASP Container Security Verification Standard. Now, I'm sure you probably never heard of it, but it exists. Now, probably you are aware of other standards, for example, NIST standards, right? Or CIS container security benchmarks. So why OWASP has another standard? There's a reason for that. Because if you look at the NIST standard, it's massive. It's like 200 pages long. Please go read that, right? How to extract information that you need to build container security. So we created a container security verification standard, which is very simple. You can see this checklist, and you can just tick it, how to verify container security. And it's all information which has been extracted from NIST and CIS, but it is not just a few pages rather than 200 pages long, and it is in a very consumable format. The next tool from the tool chain is dynamic application security testing, and that's our flagship tool, OWASP SLAP. And OWASP SLAP is a penetration testing tool. It will scan your application or your API for vulnerabilities by very simple action of giving it the URL, say, here's the URL of the scan for vulnerabilities, click go, and it will do it for you. And OWASP SLAP is available not just as a desktop application, it's actually written in Java, so again, it runs on everything. There's a web version as well, that's cross-platform, but what is most important is you can run in a Docker container, and you can actually embed Docker version into your CI/CD pipelines and make sure that your builds get scanned. And there's also a Jenkins plugin, GitHub Action, and plugins available for, I think, almost every CI/CD system out there. Again, all plugins are free and open source. Definitely check it out. Zap also has a feature that many people don't know, which is very useful for interactive testing. It's called HUD, or heads-up display. Basically, when you're browsing the web, you can type through Zap, and it will actually show you with the overlays if you find any vulnerabilities as you browse the website, which is really good. The next tool from the vulnerability scanning is something called OWASP Mass. So OWASP Mass performs scanning of the attack surface. So essentially, this is a subdomain enumeration tool, and it basically will try to discover all externally facing assets and provide a very nice tracking using graphs that it's building. There is another tool which is very close to my heart because I'm one of this project leaders called OWASP Attacker. And this is a very interesting vulnerability scanning tool which does things like port scanning. So it does things like Nmap, information gathering, integration, brute forcing. You can do all sorts of interesting things. But most perform attack surface, you can scan for all your subdomains. If your company is company.com, do you know all the subdomains? Do you know all the systems? Do you know all the open ports that are running with your organization? Well, this is the tool which can help you discover all that. Again, free open source. You can run it as a local container, and you can even output the results in a spreadsheet and give it to your manager and say, hey, go, Mr. Manager, this is all our assets, this is all our ports, this is all our applications, this is all our IP addresses, this is all our subdomains. It's all there. And of course, you can do it from brute forcing. So these are all the web services on our network which respond to admin credentials. So this is a cool tool, so definitely check it out. The next free and open source tool OWASP has, and I want to talk about this, is OWASP Dependency Check. So Dependency Check is a software composition analysis tool. and it allows you to scan your application, find all the dependencies, and find if there are any publicly disclosed vulnerabilities in the components of your application. And it does that by checking the NVD, so it checks the database, which is published by Micro, and it will also link to the one that generates the report. It will actually link each finding to its corresponding CV, which is very, very useful. And again, there are a lot of very expensive commercial SCA tools out there on the market, but you can do it for free. Another SCA-related thing is OWASP Cyclone DX. So OWASP Cyclone DX is a standard on software bill of materials. Software bill of materials is a relatively new thing. I'm probably going to do a separate talk on software bill of material and how to use it. And because there are now lots of tools appearing like this. Software bill of material has been around for a while, but now it's became kind of more and more visible because of things like Log4j vulnerability, right? Last year, everyone was running around like had this chicken saying, "Oh, where do we have Log4j? Where do we use it?" I said, "Well, how do we know? Right? You need to have your software bill of materials for all your applications, but also for all the third parties. This is very important. So, Cyclone DX is a standard how to define your software bill of materials, and it's available in JSON and XML schemas. And then we have another wonderful tool called OWASP Dependency Tracker. That is a vulnerability detection and management tool which can actually consume and generate software bill of materials and actually answer the question because it has the inventory of all the components that we have, which applications that we have a particular vulnerability, which applications have specific library, or Log4j, for example. And you can consume and import bill of materials from a variety of formats, and it produces very nice reports as well. Very, very mature, amazing project, to be honest. But it's on a level of paid commercial tools, but it is free and open source for all of us. Another project that not many people know about, it's called OWASP Secure Code Box. Secure Code Box is a Kubernetes-based fully modularized tool chain. So this is a scanner based on Kubernetes, which has lots of tools we talked about already baked in. So check it out. This is basically one tool which has lots of other tools under its roof. It actually includes a lot of tools that I've been talking about already, and some of the tools I'm going to talk about later, like OWASP CRS, or Core Rule Set. So this is our web application firewall, which is also free and open source. You can basically throw this rule set into home security and stop attackers from getting to your application. Of course, it is debatable how useful WAFs are. I think they're still very useful because they will stop a lot of noise, a lot of low-hanging fruit attacks. And CRS is actually highly configurable. So you can start from very gentle, what they call level of paranoia, and then keep increasing it if you are under a sustained attack. So definitely check it out if you don't know what it is. Another project I want to bring your attention to from the DevSecOps perspective is OWASP API Security Top 10. This was published in 2019 and then we got hit with a pandemic, right? So straight after that. So not many people know that there is an OWASP API security project and it has the top 10. It's absolutely amazingly very well documented. So if you are building any software which includes APIs, you have to check it out. It's again published as a book, which you can get in printed version or download as PDF. The next OWASP project, which is absolutely amazing, and you definitely need to check it out, is OWASP Cheat Sheets. Life is short and security is hard, so cheat. Go and get, we have 78 cheat sheets on almost every topic you can think about in security. And it's very easily consumable. You don't need to read long documents, long books. You just have to download the cheat sheet. And all information will be there. It is searchable. It is all driven by GitHub. Absolutely amazing. Go and check it out. I mentioned one cheat sheet which was abuse stories, but there also there's authentication cheat sheet, authorization cheat sheet, session management cheat sheet, password management sheet. Every single topic you can think of which is related to security and cryptography is all in the cheat sheet. Go and check it out. The next project is also very, very important. It is top 10, but it's a different top 10. It's the traditional OWASP top 10 is a white paper. This is OWASP top 10 proactive controls. This is actually your top 10 commandments. What developers should do to design their code securely. They have to define security requirements, use frameworks, secure databases, encode escape all data, validate all input, enforce access controls. These are the 10 commandments. You can basically print them out and give it to the developers and say, these are the 10 commandments that you need to follow. Again, the actual document, when you download the PDF, has very good explanation of every single control, why it's needed, and how it can be applied. Another OWASP project, which is very relevant for DevSecOps, is our DevSecOps maturity model. How do you measure how mature is DevSecOps in your organization? Where is it? Are you still on the basic level of understanding security practices? You're adapting it, or do you actually have advanced deployment of DevSecOps? You can answer this question by checking out the maturity model. Absolutely amazing project. Yeah. If you are thinking of doing DevSecOps, you need to check out the maturity model. It has very good coverage of all the activities that need to be done. And the next OWASP project, which is probably not very well known, but this is probably one of my most favorite projects ever. It's called OWASP Defend Dojo. This is a bit of a strange name, but this is vulnerability management software from OWASP, which is again free and open source. Again, marketing term, we will have vendors here. This is your single pane of glass, how to see all vulnerabilities which come in from all the tools. Your penetration tests. Defend Dojo consumes all vulnerability data from various sources. It supports commercial tools, it supports open source tools, it includes things like dependency check and ZAP, but we also take commercial vulnerability scanner input, and then it will give you A, nice dashboard, and B, it will have metadata. So you can actually go and flag these vulnerabilities. This one's a false positive. This one is high priority. This one is low priority. And this one will raise the security ticket to my development. With one single button click, you can do it. And if you don't have vulnerability management, you say, okay, we've got a tool found some issues. How do you collect them? You put them in a spreadsheet. You have to do it in your Defend Dojo. It's available again as a Docker container. It takes literally a few minutes to spin this up in your organization and start using vulnerability dashboard. Definitely check it out if you've never seen it before. Now let's move on to the cultural side of DevSecOps, because we talked about technology. We have a project which is called Security Culture and Security Champions. So definitely check out OWASP Security Culture project. It talks about a lot how to cultivate security culture in your development and ops teams, how to get your teams to collaborate, which is very important, how to do threat modeling, how to do testing, and of course, very important, metrics. We had quite a few discussions about metrics last time. How do you measure success? And this document, this project, will tell you how to do it. And it has a security champions playbook built in. If you are thinking of creating security champions initiative in your organization, this is a place to start from, because it has all the steps that you need to set up the initiative, what you need to do, how do you identify teams, how do you identify the role, define the role of the champion, how do you nominate the champions, how do you set up communications between the security champions and security team, how do you share knowledge, and how to make sure that you maintain interest, that security is still number one priority and it is staying baked in. Now I promised a story about refrigerators, because there is a phrase from the Money for Nothing song, about moving refrigerators, microwave ovens, and color TVs. This is an absolutely true story from a very large bank. And this is a real email which application security team received from a developer saying, "Dear security team, I'm sick and tired of your SaaS tool finding passwords in my code. From now on, I will be naming all my password variables refrigerator. Let's see if your tool finds them now." And that's exactly what happened. So this was very interesting because this is for the first time, and again, talk about the culture, when we see this interesting pushback from developers. And I think one of the reasons why it happened, they decided to hide hard-coded secrets in their code from security because they were never educated how to deal with secrets in a secure manner. And that is what we're missing. We're missing education. And talking about education, how do we provide education for free? First of all, we have this new project called OWASP Wrong Secrets. It's relatively new, and OWASP Wrong Secrets is a game. It's a tournament which invites developers to go and find hidden secrets. It consists of several challenges available as Docker container. Again, you can spin it up and have it running a couple of minutes, and it's absolutely great fun to play during your lunch break. So you can have it as a lunch and learn activity and say, okay, let's go and find secrets using this project. The next educational project that not many people know about, that's OWASP Security Knowledge Framework. This is absolutely an amazing project because this is your security knowledge database that you can take and install inside your organization in your network and load with your own data. It's already pre-made, there's already all the standards, all the examples of secure and insecure code already preloaded. It even has labs. Let me see if I can actually do a bit of a live demo over here. There you go. So you can see it has code examples, it has various checklists, knowledge base, and it also has labs. So you can go and just start it. You can see all the projects, all the code examples in various languages. So again, don't forget that this is open source, so you can go and add your own examples in the different languages. There's your checklists, right? And checklists are based on the application security verification standard, container security verification standard, and we also have mobile security, mobile application security verification standard. There's all these checklists are here, and again, this is all fully customizable. So if you need a website within your organization, so how do we give knowledge base for our developers, right? A lot of people would use something like Confluence, but you need content. Where do you get content from? Right? You can just spin this up and inside your network, and you have a ready-made knowledge-based system. And moreover, this thing also has labs, and labs are Docker-based. So if you're trying to teach your developers what is path traverse or cross-site scripting, you can just spin up the lab, and it's going to allocate a random URL and spin up the container and allow you to access the lab. So look at the number of labs available for almost every single vulnerability. Lots and lots of labs. But there's also some training modules in there. My Wi-Fi is misbehaving, so it's not loading everything, but I definitely encourage you to check it out. If you don't have any security knowledge base in your company, you can just start from security knowledge framework and get it up and running customized. The next thing for education is OWASP Security Shepherd. So OWASP Security Shepherd is a training application. It's available as a VM. It has lots of lessons, and it has a capture flag mode where you can actually compete with score mode. So you can play this, give it to your developers. Again, as a fun activity, as a tournament, there's a leaderboard, and you can give it a prize. Again, if you want to do a capture the flag tournament and you don't know how to do it, there you go. And you just spin up the Docker container, and within 5 minutes, you'll have a ready-made tournament for your developers. Another similar project is called WebBuild. It's focused on Java. So if you are writing any applications in Java, this is again a training application and also intentionally vulnerable web application, which also has lots of lessons and walkthroughs. Another application from the same educational sector is OWASP Reduction, which is an intentionally vulnerable e-commerce application written in Node.js, and it's just real with vulnerabilities. It also has a leaderboard, so it also has the Capture the Flag tournament mode, which you can play with developers. It is being constantly maintained and improved. There are new challenges added, and if you've never heard of it, definitely download the videos. There are lots of videos available on YouTube how to exploit vulnerability distribution. But actually, when you first run it, so this is just a shop, right? Website. What could possibly go wrong? And this is also a very good application to throw to your vulnerability scanners because it has lots of vulnerabilities, and this project, is the value of it is that it will provide tremendous education to developers as a fun activity. If you try to, there's another fun activity. You can play card games with your developers. We have cards for OWASP for the copy, and it is a card game which helps developers to learn about security issues and how to correctly build security requirements. Again, the card game also available, not as physical cards. I think the one that has a price, I think that one. Yes, but it's also available to play online. There's an online version, which has been also open source. You can just play it, which is great. Now, we talked about free, right? A lot of free stuff. Where is money, right? So money for nothing, money for free. So return on investment. If you start doing DevSecOps and you start with free tools, this is one of the interesting use cases of DevSecOps at Fannie Mae. This was presented, I think, at one of the DevOps Days conference. But it shows that DevSecOps actually provides a tremendous return on investment. The amount of savings, the amount of time which is spent on fixing vulnerability significantly goes down. The amount of technical debt goes down. And what is also, of course, most important about selling DevSecOps to your board is, from a money perspective, is the fact that the cost of fixing one vulnerability, if you catch it at the design phase, is only $80. If you catch it at the build stage, it's around $240. Again, this is a study by Polymer Institute, so they provided this figures. If you have a vulnerability in test, it will cost on average it's $560. However, if the application is already deployed, it's going to cost you almost $8,000 to fix for one vulnerability. How many vulnerabilities are in the application? Dozens, hundreds. So it's a very, very easy sell for money for nothing. Now I have a before I do my appeal, let me actually jump another slide, because I want to, I talked about a lot of OWASP projects, but there are lots of non-OWASP open source tools. I selected a few of them, there are a few more, but these are some tools that you need to be aware of. So there's a Git links, which is secret scanning for repositories, TFSec, which is Terraform infrastructure, is called security scanning. Tripping, which is a security scanner which gets more and more rich every day, and it allows you to get to scan for various container vulnerabilities. But it also now has SCA module and CV module, so it gets better every day. Kube Hunter allows you to hunt for security vulnerabilities in Kubernetes cluster. SendGrab is a very good project which is a static code source analysis. It's your SaaS tool for free. There's also KubeAudit, which is a tool which allows you to audit Kubernetes clusters for various security concerns. Falco, we had a talk about Falco at our previous OWASP event. So this is a cloud-native runtime security tool, so you can detect bad things happening in your containers in real time in production. So it's a really, really great tool. Then there's another tool which is not very well known called JBomb, from Contrast, and it actually allows to generate your software bill of materials based not on just the source code, but also what is actually running. So it's checking the running processes when your application runs, and it actually says, okay, we have all these components running. If it's one thing if you mention a particular library in your manifest, but maybe you don't use it. So your application is probably not other SE. JMO will actually scan running processes and say, yep, this library is in memory, it's running, so you're vulnerable. So it's a great tool. And of course, Vault, HashiCorp Vault is the system for security and storage of secrets, tokens, passwords, certificates, and encryption keys. Now let me go back, because all these tools, they are actually not from OWASP. And I have an appeal for everyone, and I have to appeal to all the security vendors, but also appeal to individuals who build open source projects, open source tools. Please, if you have an open source security tool, donate it to OWASP. Why? Because OWASP gives your open source project lots of advantages. So first of all, OWASP will give your projects a home, because you can move your source code from my personal repo and the GitHub to OWASP under our organization in GitHub. We have over 900 various projects. It gives you visibility because OWASP project's webpage gets hit by over 6 million times a year. So if you have a free project in your personal repo, no one knows about it. If you make it an OWASP project, suddenly you get 6 million visitors. Gives you credibility because OWASP is very well known in the application security and DevSecOps community and the industry. Resources, you can actually get funding for your open source security project because you can apply for grants and you can also qualify for what we call project summits, so you can even have many conferences for your project. You get community because OWASP has lots of conferences, local chapters all around the world which are going to talk about your project because now it is an OWASP project. And you also get longevity because for many people doing something in open source, it's usually a volunteer activity. It's something that people usually do in their spare time, and at some point the circumstances in life can change and they can abandon and stop maintaining the project. If you move it to OWASP, it gives you life, it gives you longevity. And another very important point for security vendors with open source, that OWASP gives you neutrality, because OWASP removes the stigma associated with vendor-owned open source software. And many open source software projects, unfortunately, were abandoned or lost after various mergers and acquisitions or company reorganizations. So again, if you want to protect the open source project, at one of our previous DevSecOps London Gathering, there was a talk from Polish Raspberry about open source project, which is actually under an energy company GitHub repo. Would you go to an energy company GitHub repo? Do you know that an energy company makes security source and security tools as open source tools? I never knew that, but OWASP, of course, does that. So how can you start a new OWASP project? It's very simple. Just go to owasp.org and then click on start a new project link on the right. That's it. And then just fill out the application form. And there's OWASP project leaders. And you will still maintain all the control, but you will get more collaborators and people who will help you with your project. Now, I'm going to leave you with this slide. If you're not aware of this report, awesome DevSecOps report. Definitely check this out. It's a combination of a lot of resources related to DevSecOps. I put the QR code there if you want to scan it around. So awesome DevSecOps, you can also Google it. Now, training, education, which is almost free. So OWASP members, and OWASP membership costs $50 US a year. Now, the exchange rate is not particularly good because it's from 36 pounds a year, it's now getting closer to 50 pounds per year. If you become a member, you get access to free training, which otherwise is expensive. It's professional training. You get DevSecOps training from a company called AppSec Engineers, an absolutely amazing training courses, and OWASP members get them for free. There are many modules available there. I think each module costs something like $1,000, but you get them all for free. Another one is Security Journey. Security Journey has something called security belt. So security belt is another training system, and again, you can get this professional training for free if you are an OWASP member. And there's another system called Secure Flag. Secure Flag is an amazing training system for developers because it's a capture the flag. It basically spins up a virtual machine inside which your developers can try various vulnerabilities and then perform, go through various challenges. It's all web-based labs, so it's absolutely amazing. However, you don't have to pay $50 US. You can actually get it for free. How? If you are an OWASP chapter leader, like me, or if you become an OWASP project leader, you can claim complimentary membership for OWASP. You have to repeat this every year. There's a little checkbox. Right? When you apply for OWASP membership, you say, I'm requesting complimentary membership. So if you start an open source project, as well as bring your open source project to OWASP, and you become a project leader, you get access to all this training courses for free. Now, the final thought with a phrase from the MTV video for Money for Nothing. This people who make open source projects, they eat them. And just because an open source tool is free does not mean it doesn't add value. Some of the tools might be better than the tools you actually spend the money on. So always remember that. And yes, thank you very much. And maybe I should learn to play. Here's me playing rock guitar. This is the teenage rocker years. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sam. Another round of applause for Sam. Does anyone have any questions? No, it's not a question.
We have a panel later.
Yeah, there's a panel.
One question was about this lab and what's the difference between the, because that is also a requirements gathering tool which you mentioned.
Yes.
There was another project which is very similar sounding in the SKF where you actually generate the requirements. So what's the difference?
Yeah, no, security wrapped will generate requirements if you describe what application you're building. SKF is the knowledge base. It's the tool which has all the
Like right one of them, like you can add a user story and you can actually generate the requirements over there as well.
Yeah. So it's so basically, if you, as I said, if you have no knowledge base, no security knowledge base systems, you can just take SKF and start from it. But RAT is slightly different. So RAT is on very piece of requirements, but SKF has everything. It has ASVS built in, it has maps built in, and it has code samples built in.
Okay, so we're going to have a panel session in about 5 minutes. Yeah, 5 minutes. So what we'll do is we'll look right now. I think Michael is going to cut the cake. He doesn't know this yet, but he is going to. But thank you again, Sam. Sam. Thank you very much.
Yes. You can check whether or not they are available.
Yeah.
If you become a member, then not all of them. There are selected ones. Not all of them. Then there's a whole ask which you join, and there's a full
I've got a couple of leading questions.
Yeah.
I already thought about it beforehand.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
Okay. So